Down the front there, you who's 20, is your life better? Are you happier? Is everything better now that you're slightly smaller than you were before?
Absolutely, and I'm not a little bit smaller, I'm a lot smaller. And I did do research into everything. I can still have kids, and that may not have happened if I had stayed the size I was. Like, my question to you is, can you honestly say that you are 100% happy and healthy? Like, you have no medical conditions whatsoever, you have no problems at all with your health?
I think it's really interesting that I feel like I need to justify my existence in this room.
No, but
Just answer the question. You asked her a very condescending question, and now you're trying to avoid the backlash. You can't just throw sand in a kid's face and then cry to the teacher when they defend themselves. Shockingly, the host doesn't let her get out of it and pressures her to respond.
no, but hang on a minute. You asked her to justify her decision.
I asked her
She's
if she was
asking-
happy. I didn't ask her to justify what her health issues now, or if there is any.
But have you got any health issues?
No, I'm perfectly happy.
I'd love to know, like, what do you see as healthy with eating?
Yeah, it's interesting that you've just assumed that I eat bad food because
No,
of
I
my
know. I'd
size.
love to know.
It's not an assumption. All the evidence of your behavior is there. It's like telling people that you didn't eat little Timmy's birthday cake when there's still frosting on your mouth that you forgot to clean off. But all right, let's hear her defense for why she's healthy.
Because if you're really healthy, do you have any joint issues, or so you're
I
completely?
swim 2.5 kilometres a day. I walk, I exercise all the time. I am in a synchronized swimming team, and I really resent the fact that I have to actually justify my existence and my ability to live in the world in a bigger body.
Okay, but you said nothing about what you eat. You shifted to exercise so you could avoid that question. Why would you be avoiding it if you ate healthy? If she actually ate healthy, she would be jumping to answer that question to dunk on anyone who doubts her. Then, of course, she says I swim. You know what? That's like the easiest form of exercise for obese people because there's less gravity to deal with, and excess fat makes you float better. By the way, I don't believe at all that she swims 2.5 kilometers a day. I don't even think she's accomplished that once. I'm not a swimmer, but according to Google, that's like an hour straight of swimming for an average person. If she had the kind of discipline that it takes to do that daily, then she wouldn't have trouble losing weight. But if you were so healthy, then why don't you, run for fitness? Do you even walk for fitness? You cut yourself off when you said that word, almost as if it was a lie. You wouldn't lie to us, would you, Kelly Jean Drinkwater? Wait, Kelly Jean Drinkwater? Oh my God, her stage name is Drinkwater. It's always the fat acceptance advocates who feel the need to constantly virtue signal about drinking water to pretend that they're healthy.
What I eat in a day is a fat person. I then had some more water because I'm skinny and hungover.
I am making a peach rain water. We're starting out with a Sunkissed peach packet, and then I'm doing 3 pumps of cherry. I feel like all gummies have some kind of vanilla aspect, so I added 1.5 pumps of vanilla almond. Overall, this water was really good, so 7 out of 10.
Thin people never have to prove themselves by saying, hey guys, I just wanted you to know that I drink water. I don't only drink soda all day. But anyway, these clips of Kelly Jean Drinkwater are from a 2013 Australian broadcast called Fat Fighters. That time period appears to be a wonderful moment in TV history where a mainstream media host actually pushed back on some of the very dumb things that fat acceptance advocates say. Dumb things like this.
I just think that how the way the discussion is running is very indicative of the general prevailing attitude towards fatness and the refusal to even accept that potentially there can be other ways of living in a healthy body.
Yeah, except that's scientifically untrue. Sure, you can live in a bigger body when you're under 40. As far as I can Google, she was around 400 pounds when this was filmed, but was in her early 30s, so of course she's okay. However, the actual problem is that you don't live nearly as long as a thin person when you're 400 pounds, and you're cutting your life in half so you can eat more poorly made hamburgers from McDonald's.
Pathological behavior is the proclivity to gain in the short term but lose in the medium to long run.
Right. That's a simple definition of pathological behavior. It's sacrificing your future for instant gratification or a short-term win. Now, I'm not exactly sure what happened to Kelly because she's been out of the media for a number of years, but eventually she does mention her diet.
I just want to know what are you eating? I just want to know, and I'll tell you what I eat, and we can work out.
So that's what it comes down to. What you're saying is incredibly it's such a small equation that you want to know what I eat. I eat salad. I eat meat. I don't eat carbs because they don't agree with me. I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. I'm primarily vegetarian.
She says I don't eat carbs because they don't agree with me, and then proceeds to virtue signal about how she eats fruits and vegetables, which are full of carbs. Oh my God, she knows so little about food that she thinks the only things that have carbs in them are bread and pasta. And then she calls herself a vegetarian after saying that she eats meat. There's no primarily a vegetarian. You either are a vegetarian or you aren't. Just like with the exercise, I don't believe anything you're saying at all. I've shown plenty of examples on this channel of people her size claiming to eat salad, but they dump like 500 calories of butter or mayonnaise all over it. I mean, she's obviously pretending because she only mentions eating things that people perceive to be healthy. I eat salad, but not bread because bread is bad. Also, I watched Forks Over Knives on Netflix last week, so I'm going to say that I'm a vegetarian because that documentary made it sound healthy. No one eats as flawlessly as she pretends to. She's such a bad liar. Personally, though, I would rather pressure her on exercise because it's a lot easier to prove that she's lacking in physical fitness by throwing her against an average thin person in a 1-mile run than it is to monitor everything she eats. But I cannot stress enough that when fat acceptance advocates say that they don't eat that much, or they say they exclusively eat healthy foods, they are lying. Which brings me to my new favorite obsession, a show called Secret Eaters. I can't believe I only learned about this show recently, because in my opinion, it does an even better job at exposing how much these people eat than My 600-Pound Life does. The way they do that is by putting cameras all around the house of the people on the show, have private investigators follow them everywhere, and recruit their family to tattle on them for 5 days. And then when they've told the people being filmed that they stop recording, they continue to record them to see if they were cheating during the time that they knew they were being filmed. Let's see a little bit from an episode with Tracy and Kelly. A different Kelly this time.
I'm on my way to visit two lovebirds from Hull, 38-year-old Tracy Williams and 27-year-old Kelly Kane, who met 2 years ago at the local cake factory where they both work.
You've both put on 4 stone?
Yeah.
2 stone a year you've put on?
Yeah.
Wow.
2 stone in a year? Holy crap, that's like 28 pounds or 12.7 kilograms in a year. Let me put that in perspective for you of how much food it takes to gain that kind of weight in such a short amount of time. For the past 9 months, I've been bodybuilding. I started out with what's called recomposition, which is a method of gaining muscle that allows you to make gains while either losing weight or maintaining your weight. But honestly, I was already thin and recomposition took too much discipline, so I switched to bulking and cutting. For probably 8 months of that, many times a week, I was absolutely eating way more calories than I needed, even more than the 500 calorie or so daily surplus that's recommended for bulking. Some days I completely stuffed my face, particularly if it was a day where I accidentally waited too long to eat. I put on about 15 pounds in that 8 months, which would be roughly 22 pounds in a year. I'm cutting that weight now and I've already lost about 6 pounds of it, but holy crap. To gain the kind of weight that they gained, they must have been stuffing their faces constantly. However, that's not what they report. They said they eat healthy.
I'm eating like healthy cereals, sometimes strawberry granola, sometimes muesli. Eating more salads. I get like the light mayonnaise. Well, it's actually extra light mayonnaise.
It doesn't sound like you're eating that much.
When you look at it, we don't. It's like, well, why am I so big if I'm not eating that much?
See, I don't eat that bad. I have total cereal for breakfast. Well, first of all, I don't think cereal is healthy at all. Most cereals contain a lot of added sugar, and even if they don't, at best you're eating flavorless processed wheat instead of a natural food. She said her cereal was strawberry flavored, so it probably has added sugar. Also, like I said earlier, she throws mayonnaise on her salad, which destroys the point of eating a salad. I in no way believe that she uses the low-calorie mayo every time she eats salad. Second, it was revealed at the end of the episode that she never actually eats the cereal. She just had it as an option to eat, but actually eats junk food instead. Which means, how do we even know that she eats the salad? Now, while they're filming, they asked the people on the show to make a food diary to get a baseline of how much they think they're eating. Let's see how much Tracy thinks she eats.
We asked the girls to complete a food diary. And according to Tracy's diary, it's a mystery why she's not losing weight. She claims a lean average of just over 1,500 calories per day.
And now you might see why I never believe it when obese people report that they don't eat that much. Tracy recorded that she eats 1,500 calories in a day, which cannot be true because that puts her at a 400 to 500 calorie deficit, meaning that she would be thin if this number was accurate. However, what typically happens is that these people often have no idea how many calories their meals are, and I think that a different episode of Secret Eaters shows that best when they discuss how many calories this girl's chili dog meal had.
Corrie started a hot dog chili meal with 2 jumbo hot dog rolls, 404 calories. She then added 4 hot dogs, 188 calories. On top of that, she added some tinned chili con carne, 2 tablespoons of soured cream, 113 calories, reduced fat grated mature cheddar cheese, 211 calories. That brought the total meal to 1,428 calories.
Obese people will often eat these super calorie-dense meals as a snack and have no idea of how much they're actually eating. But when they ask the person who made this meal how she eats, she reports that she eats super healthy. She cooks her own food.
She told me she always cooks healthy, home-cooked meals.
Most of the stuff I eat is quite fresh. Like, I love cooking.
Yeah, she eats those hot dogs and chili fresh out of the can. Again, can you see why I don't trust anything obese people say when they report how healthy they eat? You have Miss Drinkwater from earlier who has no idea what carbohydrates are, and this girl here who calls pouring things out of a can cooking. You didn't make that chili. Someone else did and put it in the can for you. The ridiculous part is that chili isn't even that hard to make. All you have to do is throw ingredients into a crock pot and wait for a few hours. So she basically has no cooking skill. Getting back to the original episode of Secret Eaters, Tracy reported that she eats 1,500 calories in a day. How much does her partner Kelly say she eats?
Kelly's diary shows a calorific intake of almost 2,300 calories a day, which is more than the typical daily average, but still doesn't explain her huge weight gain.
That's probably a little bit more accurate than her counterpart, but there is no way she gained 28 pounds in a year from eating at a slight calorie surplus. There's information all over this show that suggests that their food diaries are incorrect, like shots of them eating candy bars, donuts or eclairs, and drinking sugary orange juice. Now, I've said before that it is possible to lose weight while eating junk food, but because the sugar in candy bars and donuts is so addictive, it is very unlikely that you'll actually be able to eat at a calorie deficit while eating processed sugar. I think one of the best ways to control cravings while you're losing weight is to check the ingredients labels on your food and cut out all processed sugar and maybe mix that with a probiotic. That will make it way easier to resist overeating or binging. All right, let's hear how many calories they actually ate.
You thought you were getting through around 1,560 calories a day. We recorded you getting through nearly 3,000 calories a day. Kelly, from your food diaries, you thought you were getting through around 2,280 calories a day. We recorded you getting through 3,650 calories.
1,500 calories a day, Tracy actually ate double that, and her counterpart, Kelly, ate more than 1.5 times what she said she ate. They also caught Kelly drinking 2.5 liters of energy drinks in a 4 to 5 day period. This is the reality of how much obese people eat, and they were probably still on their best behavior for the show. With that in mind, let's get back to the Australian show and move on to another fat acceptance advocate, Jennifer Lee. Now, allow me to apologize before I show this next clip, because I've shown this kind of thing a lot on my channel, but I just want to further stress how often this nonsense is said.
Julius, you're a fitness trainer. What do you think of Jenny and Dorothy being happy with their bodies?
I think that's fantastic. Are you healthy? Have you been to the doctors and they've told you that you're healthy?
Well, I think that's quite a loaded question because I don't think anyone here who's thin is going to be asked that. So I guess that's what I would say to that answer, that we have to look as well at the assumptions that are made. And I would say you can't actually tell someone's lifestyle or health by looking at them.
Yes, you can. That is precisely why you guys don't like people asking questions about your health or poking around your lifestyle choices. It's because we can physically see that you aren't healthy. Plus, a major part of doctors assessing someone's health is by looking for what are called signs and symptoms. Doctors are taught to assess your health by looking at you. On top of that, you can absolutely determine things about people's lifestyle based on the way they look. Here's a picture of a guy who has a lot of muscle. The only way he can achieve this is if he exercises, which means I can look at him and determine that he does resistance training solely based on his appearance. So just know that fat acceptance advocates have been repeating this nonsense since at least 2013, and we know it's nonsense because Jennifer flat out refuses to talk about what she eats.
Julius asked you before, Jenny, what you ate, and you avoided the answer.
No, I answered the question differently.
But you're saying you're healthy. I want to know. If you're healthy, I want to know.
I said that I wouldn't answer that question because I felt that a lot of thin people would not be asked that question. We're being asked to justify an existence.
Well, I'll tell you what I eat. I'm quite comfortable to tell you what I eat every single day.
Whether a fat person's healthy or not is not necessarily the primary question that I think we should focus on the whole time here.
Spoken like a true addict. Addicts are excellent at dodging questions and shifting people's focus so that people don't question them on uncomfortable topics. So know that when you're dealing with any kind of addict and trying to get them help, it is important to stay focused on the main topic and not let them distract you with an irrelevant issue. The only real information we have on Jennifer's diet is this.
Have you tried to lose weight?
Oh, I tried for 20 years. I started formal dieting at 16 with Herbalife and then onto calorie counting, Light and Easy, Weight Watchers, all of those.
Herbalife, the pyramid scheme? I don't know if Herbalife still does this, but back when I was in school, and during the time that this TV special was filmed, Herbalife was one of those scams where they pretend they are selling the product to the customer, but they're actually selling the product to the salesman and tricking those salespeople into thinking that they're entrepreneurs, when in actuality, they are the customer. It's the kind of company that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia parodied a bunch of years ago with their Invigoron episode.
So sign up for the Invigoron system today and take the first steps toward obtaining financial freedom. Invigoron, a business opportunity as rare as the Abani berries themselves. Now, Charlie and I have recently come into a rare business opportunity, and we were hoping you could clear a couple things up for us. Can you look at that?
It's a pyramid scheme.
That being said, you can tell that Jennifer Lee really does her research when it comes to learning how to eat healthy. She thinks that drinking a protein shake will make her thin. That's not what protein shakes are for. Protein shakes are to help you get your optimal protein intake when you're building muscle without getting a bunch of unwanted calories from fat and carbohydrates. If you aren't bodybuilding, you don't need protein shakes. Also notice that they gaslight people by saying things like, I don't care about being in a bigger body, why do you care? No, clearly you do care because you're using euphemisms, and you said you spent 20 years trying to lose weight. You also said this.
Well, thinking back to then, I was beginning to get those feelings that I was disgusting and ugly. And I wrote in my journal when I was 16 that I feared that I had the most disgusting body in the world.
Okay, so if you're overweight and don't like it, then the correct answer is to learn how to get healthy, not find excuses for why it's impossible to change. I think this guy says it best.
I wonder whether you think people shouldn't be big as some of the people in this room are. Do you think that's the case?
No, I think it's up to everybody to be as big as they want to be, but if you're not happy with your size, don't try and make excuses and reasons as to why you are happy with your size when you're clearly, in your head, you're definitely not happy.
Right. Stop looking for reasons to not achieve the lifestyle that you clearly desire. But I think this next part is probably the highlight of all the nonsense that Jennifer says, which is where she tries to lie about the cost that obesity, morbid obesity, and severe morbid obesity have on the medical system, particularly in countries where the medical industry is completely socialized and everyone else is paying for the consequences of you eating fast food every day.
I think it frames fat as a drain on society. And my response is, a lot of us work, a lot of us pay taxes. We're not just a drain on society.
Wait, shouldn't it be all of you work? She's like, we aren't a drain on society. A handful of us have jobs and pay taxes. Now, excluding the people who eat so much that they can't leave their house, understand how this trick works. Jennifer is not a tax burden yet because she's still in her 30s. However, if she continues this pattern of unhealthy behavior, then she could easily cost the tax system 10 times what she put into it as she nears the end of her shortened life. Now, every society is going to have some number of people who are dependents and simply can't do for themselves. For example, people with severe mental or physical disabilities. A healthy society will work to do what it can to decrease the number of people who can't fend for themselves. The issue is, though, that fat acceptance, as well as all the other woke shit, is taking perfectly capable people and turning them into expensive dependents that put a heavy drain on the system. I didn't show it, but the host of this show rightfully points out that it's okay for us to publicly shame smokers for their costs on the medical care system, and it's even appropriate for insurance companies to charge them more. But the second you bring up weight, that's when you're out of line.
Everyone can lose weight. There's a simple equation. It's called energy in, energy out. If you're fat, you exercise, that's the energy out. And the energy in is the fat that you carry on your body. Everyone can lose weight. I know it's hard, but the question was, are there people that can't lose weight? And the answer to that's no.
That's actually not true.
Oh no, how dare he say something true? Did you hear all the gasping in the audience when he said that? As I've said before, it's hard to fully blame these people, especially when there are a ton of health professionals like this next person who are out there not doing their job by teaching people proper weight loss technique, or they will just flat out lie to people about how unhealthy being obese is.
And I think, the message that's not getting out is that we actually don't need to lose weight to become healthy. I think we need to be focusing much more on health behaviours and helping people to have self-care.
So can you be fat and healthy?
Absolutely. I mean,
self-care, like not binge eating every day? Because if you're 500 pounds, you need to lose weight to be healthy. At the very least, you have to admit that this is a matter of scale, and no one who is 500, 600, or 1,000 pounds is healthy at that weight. Maybe you can gaslight people about 300 pounds, but certainly not 1,000 pounds. This psychologist has a number of horrible takes during this show, and this is why, and I think everybody should be careful about this, but this is why I personally am incredibly picky about who I allow to teach me or influence me with information. Because if you let the wrong people influence you, in the case of fat acceptance, it could easily cost you your life. Outside of fat acceptance, bad teachers will very often teach you the wrong information, and when it comes to skills you're building, especially job-related skills, a bad teacher can waste years of your time and really hurt your lifetime salary. Always be picky about who you allow to teach you. Ultimately, there are tons of people out there who have information about health or dieting that is flat out wrong because they get their health advice from mainstream news. The same mainstream news that is so bad at fact-checking that they will tell you dumb stuff like eating chocolate every day will make you lose weight. Also, another thing that's pointed out here, and I hope that more people learn this in the future, is that weight loss surgeries don't actually work.
I had a gastric band in 2007, and over the next 2.5 years, I lost around 50 kilos, probably 55 kilos. Then mine just basically stopped working, and I think I'd figured it out as well. I'd worked it out.
How had you figured it out? What do you mean?
Well, I'd worked it out. I'd worked how I could get food in that I wasn't meant to.
Yep. Eventually, most people who get weight loss surgery will figure out how to eat around the surgery. At that point, they will either gain weight back or plateau permanently. The doctors will even tell you that when you get things like gastric bypass. So weight loss surgery doesn't really solve the underlying problem of addiction. It just sort of treats one of the symptoms very invasively. And the problem with stuff like this is that when you lie to people about how unhealthy obesity is, or when you teach them ineffective management techniques that end up not working, what you will eventually do is teach them to be helpless. Realistically, you only have so many attempts at losing weight before you plain just give up and get the idea in your head that you'll never be able to lose weight like this person here.
Dorothy, describe your body for me.
Curvy, voluptuous, carefree, and just big and beautiful.
Yeah. Have you always felt that way about it?
Not really, because I've always been quite thin, but I've just accepted the fact that this is my body now.
What she said there was really depressing. She was rightfully unhappy about the weight gain, but eventually gave up because it was too hard to lose weight. She tried everything except for the things that work, and because she failed after a number of attempts, she decided to accept that she's a failure instead of continuing to try to fix her health. This learned helplessness is one of the unfortunate realities of psychological well-being and self-improvement. If you fail too many times, you will give your brain all the evidence it needs to determine that you're a loser, and you'll stop trying. This applies to all skills. Fortunately, the flip side of this is true as well, and if you succeed a lot, you'll think you're unstoppable. And it doesn't matter how small the success is, you'll still get the psychological benefits of the victory. So it's very important that you do two things when you're new to anything. First, spend a lot of time researching and learning new information. That's easy because it's all on YouTube now. Second, and most importantly, keep your expectations low. When you're new to something, you have no idea what a reasonable amount of improvement is. You need experience to figure that out, and very often people's expectations are outrageous when they're new, like thinking they should be able to lose 50 pounds in 1 month. And when they inevitably don't achieve that goal because it's not possible, they'll feel like failures and give up. Keep your goals small when you start out, like so small that maybe for the first week of fixing your eating habits, you simply try to not gain weight. Or maybe you just try to go 1 week without binge eating. Keep the goal small, and after you succeed and better know what expectations to have, you can make the goal progressively more difficult. So if you've tried to lose weight over and over and failed every time, or if you failed at learning any other skill after lots of attempts, know that it's still possible to succeed. If other people have done it, so can you. Figure out what they know. Most importantly, slow everything down. Do not go fast with this. Small changes over a long period of time is what will actually end up working. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.